Art is too important not to share. Welcome to the Allie and Callie Artcast.
Hi, I'm Allie.
And I'm Callie. Welcome to the Artcast.
Yes, welcome. We are in downtown Coeur d'Alene today.
It's a beautiful day in August.
It is.
It's August 1st.
Yes.
Can you believe it?
No.
I survived the wedding.
You did.
Yes, I have one, and one is done.
One is done. But
one
the
more
next
to go.
one is
yes,
coming.
My daughter's engaged.
Yes.
Yay.
That's so
I
exciting.
have a new son-in-law coming my way.
Yeah.
I've got my daughter-in-law, Ellie, and I've got Clay is going to be my son-in-law someday soon. So all is well in my world.
But they haven't set the date yet.
No, they haven't set the date. So if anybody's got great ideas for wedding venues for around 150 people, because all my friends...
I thought you were going to say $150.
I think it's going to cost more than that.
Yep.
But all my friends are invited. So I'm very excited. And I'm retired again.
Yay.
And I want to just shout out to Mix It Up for not allowing me, but I had a great time while I worked there.
Yeah.
But I have got too much on my plate right now. And my brain...
Podcast is very important.
Podcast is very hard work. And I need to get my brain in working order. What's new with you, girl?
Well, I was just thinking about the fact that August 2nd will be my son's 39th birthday.
Crazy.
And on his birthday, actually the day before his birthday, August 1st, I was at
Art on the Green.
Art on the Green.
That's right. It's Art on the Green.
I was in labor, and I would not let my ex-husband take me to the hospital until we went to see my piece that was accepted in the juried art show. So I have a photo of me standing next to this piece, and it is probably the worst photo of me ever
because you're about to give birth to a giant baby, right?
That's a fact.
Well, that's fun.
I know, and it's kind of a nice memory to think about every time Art on the Green comes up.
Yeah, so this is just a reminder. If you're pregnant, go get a picture at Art on the Green.
Right.
Or if you're not even pregnant.
Right.
It's Art on the Green.
It's Art on the Green.
And it is always enjoyable. There's the street fair. There's Taste of the Coeur d'Alene.
Right.
In the park.
Right.
There's so much going on this weekend. And we want to mention that Art Walk is next weekend, August 8th. So there's lots going on. Don't forget. It's always happening in Coeur d'Alene in the summer. You know, there's a lot of things to do besides the lake.
There's so much to do.
Oh, yes, exactly. What's great about Art on the Green is so many great artists are featured.
That's right.
Local artists. And speaking of a local artist...
That's right. We met one a couple of years ago when we were
Art on the Green.
At Art on the Green.
And guess what?
We're at her gallery.
Her
she just
new
opened a gallery.
I know. Jaime Rome Crain. Hello.
Hi.
And it's called J. Rome Gallery.
Yes, exactly.
And it's right downtown.
Yes. What's your address?
We are at 211 East Sherman, so
And
right on the main strip.
It is a lovely space.
It
You've
is
done
a
a
lovely
great
space.
job.
Thank you.
And tell us, what's it like being a gallery owner?
Oh gosh, it is a dream come true, but it's also kind of still sinking in that this is my reality. This is my real job. I'm so grateful that I get to share my work and have my artwork and prints and originals for sale just consistently at one space, because I started my art career by selling at craft shows and art festivals like Art on the Green. And so there was a lot of like set up and tear down every weekend, and it was just a lot of work in a different way. And so now that I'm permanently in my space, it's nice that I just get to show up to work and my work is here ready to sell. But, you know, it's a lot of work and more work in different ways, of course. But it's been so great being right downtown. I'm in the heart of the city that I grew up in, and I love downtown. Has always been my favorite little area to walk around in. And so it's kind of nostalgic that I grew up here and now I'm a little shop on Sherman. It's very cool. But yeah, the people of Coeur d'Alene and all the tourists from honestly all over the world have been so great. Like, there's been such a great reception, amazing feedback every day. I've met tourists from all over the U.S. And notably, I met a family from Paris. And it's just so special to, interact with people like that and have them, ask to take photos of my work. And I know they're going to show it to their friends in France. That's just the craziest thing. And part of that is because Coeur d'Alene is such a cute little tourist lake town. People love visiting. So,
and it's a very artist-friendly town.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Yes. There's more and more galleries and art things popping up, and that's something I've noticed too, is that all the other gallery owners and like Beth from Mix It Up and the art community is really happy to see another gallery pop up. There's not a competitive feel. It's more like we are so glad that there's more of us because it brings people downtown for the art.
It does. I know, and I love that there is this collaborative spirit for the arts here and support.
Yes.
Definitely.
So do you paint here, or do you have a place where you paint, or is this just the gallery?
So it is just the gallery right now, and we have a back room that just doesn't have ventilation. So that's kind of just more of an office and print production space. I paint from my home. I just have a home studio, which I actually really like. But I have been considering doing like live demo days where I bring my painting setup and I paint either right in the entryway or even outside, kind of on the sidewalk. And I think that would bring in a lot of visitors.
Absolutely.
Yes.
People love to watch people paint.
Absolutely.
Totally.
They do.
Yeah.
And you're an oil artist, correct?
Yes. I paint primarily in oils. Yep.
I know. I love that because so many artists these days have gone to acrylic, and I just think oil is old school.
Yeah, exactly. That's what drew me to it initially.
And you need to have good ventilation with oil.
Yes, you definitely
So
do.
it's good. I get that.
Yes.
Now, are you teaching classes?
Yes. So classes will start in the beginning of September. I plan to have, there'll be all oil painting classes right now. I'll be running, ideally, if I can fill up the classes, 3 different levels. So we'll have beginner, intermediate, and advanced painting. And the goal with these is that they'll be 6-week courses, just meeting once a week. But I really want to make oil painting specifically feel a lot more accessible because there's so much fear and there is a huge learning curve with learning how to oil paint. Even if you're already an artist and you already draw or paint in acrylics, there's so much technical and like safety information that you need to learn in order to be confident with the medium. And so I want to help make that feel more approachable for young artists or just existing artists, basically.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of that, tell us a little bit about your background in art and what brings you to this place where you can teach.
Yeah. It's a long story because it's a lifelong story for me. I'm 25 years old and I really have been an artist for my whole life. That's kind of a cliche, but I was always the art kid growing up. It was just always a given that I would probably be interested in something artistic for my career. And I am very lucky to have a very artistic family. So my dad, Jaime Crain, is a composer and he took the leap to pursue his music and he found success with his art. And so because of that, I got to watch him have a very successful and really enjoyable career, just doing exactly what he wants to do. And so that was always kind of a motivator. And my whole family as well, especially on that side of the family, the Crain side, I have photographers and like filmmakers. My grandma is a potter. She's Bonnie Crain at the farmer's market in Coeur d'Alene. If you guys,
I have some Bonnie Crain.
Yeah. It feels like everybody does in town because she's made a name for herself and she's awesome. So there's so many artists in the family and so many entrepreneurs that it was kind of just like a given that I would probably follow in their footsteps. I never felt pressured to, but I always felt like I had the backing and the encouragement to do that. So I loved it as a little kid. And then in high school, I decided that I wanted to teach myself how to oil paint. So I learned kind of using YouTube. And then in college, I made the decision to study art. I went to Whitworth University in Spokane. I had an amazing experience there. I loved their art department. And that's where I really learned more about what it means to be an artist and to pursue it professionally. And so that really shaped what I wanted my career to look like. And I felt like once I got into the academic world of art, it felt like, oh, this could actually be a legitimate career. This isn't just some little hobby, which is often the stereotype. Like, oh, what are you going to do with that? You're going to be a starving artist. So it was in college when I realized, like, actually, I feel like I have, or I could build a skill set that would allow me to share my story, share the message that I want to share with my art, and start kind of making it and do what I want to do with my career. I just feel like I have one life here and I get to choose one career path, and this is what I actually see myself doing. And so it kind of was like, why not dive into it and see if I can make it work? It was always a risk, of course. It's not an easy path.
But everything is a risk.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. So because there's no guarantee of success no matter what you do, if you choose the safer option, there's still 100%, like, there's a chance that you can fail. I felt that it was this risk was definitely worth it for me. And so my senior year, I kind of found myself applying to a graphic design job. I did not get that job, and what a blessing that I didn't get hired for that. That would have been, probably a great path too, but just very different. And so I decided that was kind of a sign that maybe I should actually pursue my painting. And so in 2022 is when I left college, or I graduated, and I decided to start a business doing this. And that's when I got into the craft shows and everything. Soon after that, I found out that I was chosen for an artist residency. That was at the Hive, which is a branch of the Spokane Public Library. So through that residency, just based on my, what I had to offer, my merit and everything, and my skills, I was offered a free, huge, beautiful art studio where I worked for 6 months. So it was a fun period of life where I was just working from there and made a lot of connections. And yeah, it was a great time. And then probably around when I started my residency was when I really kind of wanted to seek the gallery life. And so that's when I started kind of figuring out if this could be a reality. And then it was about a year in the works from the time I found this space to the time we had our soft opening this April 2025. And it was my big secret that I kept from pretty much everyone for a long time. Yeah, it was difficult. So that kind of leads us to where I am now. The gallery has been open for 3 months now, which is crazy to say. And we had our grand opening party. We waited a little bit to feel more established, but we celebrated our grand opening last month for Art Walk. And so it's been incredible. Yeah.
Good.
That's awesome.
And you're selling paintings?
I am, yeah.
That's so great.
Yeah, I feel so lucky.
That's the ultimate goal.
Exactly.
To get your work out there. And that's actually the last step in the creative process.
Exactly. Yep. Yeah, getting into people's homes. It's pretty special.
Or even on the refrigerator.
Yeah, right? Yeah.
Add a little flair to your special events with Scraps Barbecue, a great catering choice for your next gathering. Specializing in golf tournaments, sporting events, weddings, and other family friend gatherings, their commercial kitchen can be on site, or you can choose to have a fully catered meal delivered right to you. Known for their authentic Santa Maria style tri-tip and tequila lime fish tacos, they can customize the menu to meet your needs for groups of 20 to 2,500. Contact Kevin at kevin@scrapsbarbecue.com or check them out on Facebook.
Ever feel like work and life are pulling you in opposite directions?
You are not alone. That's why we created Thrive, Learn, Connect, a podcast where personal growth meets professional success.
Each week, we share real conversations, insights, and actionable takeaways to help you navigate life and work with more ease, joy, and purpose.
Whether it's managing stress, building better relationships, or finding balance, we are here to help you thrive.
Listen to Thrive, Learn, Connect wherever you get your podcasts, because growth starts with connection.
Well, Jaime, we had you on our podcast a couple of years ago, and you have a very unique style I love the colors. Your color palette is really bright and vibrant, and
thank you.
It's just inspiring. So why don't you tell us a little bit again about
your style?
Yeah, absolutely. So I am asked a lot what I would call my art or my art style, and I don't think I fit into one. I don't know if there's a name for it yet. I haven't named it, but truly does feel like just exactly how I want to paint. I don't try to fit into a certain look or anything. I just kind of found myself around my college phase being drawn to very rich, warm colors. And then I kind of started incorporating some really cool blues. And I noticed that when really hot and cold colors are placed right next to each other, there's something very emotional, like there's a response that the viewer gets, and it makes us feel something. And ultimately, my whole life, that's been my goal with my art, is to just make you feel something, whether it's more, introspective or more joyful or whatever it may be. And so the color choices definitely are my own. Like it's recognizable, which I'm really happy about. A lot of people refer to me as the artist that, quote unquote, only paints in red and blue, which is not true. It's like, I wish you could see my painting palette.
You have way more colors than that.
Yeah, but it does. I understand when people say that. I get that, it's just the warms and cools, and I have become kind of known for my what I call my Blue Window series, which is my series where the paintings are overall very warm compositions, and there's a rectangle or a strip or a square of a rich, vibrant blue. And so I've really leaned into that body of work, and I kind of decided that I think in order to make a name for yourself and become known as someone unique, it's probably smart to really dive into something that feels like super just true to who you are. And so I came up with the idea for the Blue Window series, and I was like, what if I do dozens of these works? So I have 10 large paintings in this series and then a ton of little ones. Yeah, I also really pay attention to the brush strokes in my work. I focus on the expression and movement of the brush strokes and forms. Obviously, my work has a basis in realism, like it's representative or representational work. A lot of them are portraits or paintings of hands, a lot of self-portraits, but it's not that realism is the primary goal at all. I think the expression has always been more important to me, and I do abstract works as well, but I think there's something about my audience where I can draw them in more, maybe if there's a subject. So if there's a portrait or something relatable, something human to look at, I think that becomes a vehicle for the expression that I want to put out there, I guess.
If I were going to put a label on your art, which I'm not big on labels, but, and label might be the wrong word, I would say your work is fluid and organic.
I like that a lot. Yeah.
And I love that you can see, I love the swirls of your paintbrush. I love that, you do have the hands, and you can see that, those are intentional, and those strokes are very intentional. Yeah. But then the strokes are all over the place and swirly, and it's just very interesting.
Thank you so much. Yeah. It's funny you mentioned the swirly, curly brush strokes. I definitely started painting like that, even in my abstract pieces, because of the way I started to paint myself. So in my self-portraits, I was born with curly hair, and that's something that I take pride in, because it's a lot of what I like to say in my paintings is about natural beauty and living as a woman and embracing just how you were made. And so I started painting my curly hair as kind of I don't know, just a practice in self-acceptance, I guess. And I loved the way that I could uniquely portray curls in hair, and so that kind of became the way that I used my brush to just create abstract backgrounds and stuff. So it appears even when it's not representing hair, literally. Yeah. So it's kind of a fun little fact.
It's great. I love it. You're also the business aspect. What I've noticed, because you're younger and you have already have a gallery, which is amazing, but even before you had the gallery, you had a huge online presence on Instagram, and watching you work and watch you paint, this is not easy. I mean, as a painter myself, it's so hard for so many artists to put themselves out there, and especially put themselves out there with them painting and watching you paint and do the process in a great way. And like, I love that you do that for everybody. What's your Instagram post, by the way, or your handle?
My handle. So my art page is at Jaime Rome Art, Rome like the city, and Jaime is Jaime, and that is my page that I've been developing, and I have more of a following there. That's where I show my paintings. And then since opening the gallery, I have a page for that too, and that is at J Rome Gallery. And so both I share kind of behind the scenes of either my paintings or just, running the business. And so I try to do little kind of vlog videos behind the scenes and stuff. And then what you're talking about is on my Jaime Rome art page.
Right.
And I started sharing my painting, like time lapses and just like my painting process and everything.
Love that.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
they make me happy because I'm like, I love beginning to end. I'm like, oh, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Like you came up with that, and look at what you did. It's so fun to watch.
There's something I think as humans, we love seeing the process, of course, and because it you watch somebody online who's a painter, and you see them in the beginning just with a blank canvas or panel, and you're like, what are they going to do with that? And it's cool to see it develop, and there's something vulnerable about it for sure. At least for me, I still have days where it's like, oh, this is a bold one to post, because maybe I'm posting just the beginning of the process, and I'm in that kind of, I think a lot of painters would understand when I refer to like the ugly phase, where it's like, it's not coming together yet, but just trust the process. Trust me, it'll come together. It'll look like a Jaime painting, of course. And so I've kind of challenged myself to share my work even when it's not in its finished form, like the final professional photograph. And I think that's when I started becoming more vulnerable, was when I started gaining more of a following and having people really relate to it, especially other artists or just art lovers, because they see that I'm a human being, I'm imperfect, and it's all a process. And similarly, when I started sharing what a lot of the paintings mean to me and how they're very vulnerable, like personal narratives in my work, I think that's when a lot of other people started really started connecting with what I put out there.
Yeah, which I love that, because a lot of people want to know your background. They want to know, what does that piece mean? Art is very subjective, but it's nice to hear what you actually,
what
the intent was. And then you go, oh, well okay, I can see that, It's great. It's really good.
And I think showing your vulnerability just connects you more to your audience. Because they see you as human. And
absolutely.
I think that's really valuable.
I heard you were just in New York. What did you do in New York?
Yes. So I visited New York City last week or a couple weeks ago, and I went with my mom, and I saw my boyfriend, who is an architect and working there for the summer, but we went to museums and saw all the art, and I had never been. That was my first
really?
time.
Oh.
Yeah. I always kind of wanted to go, but never really had a reason. But I'm slowly checking off my kind of bucket list of all the most famous museums in the world, which is very cool. I'm very grateful for. So we went to the Met, we went to MoMA, the Museum of Modern Art. That was a really, really cool experience. And every time I visit a big museum like that and see, the paintings of all the greats and the famous artists, I am left with a feeling of, oh gosh, like I need to paint more. I always kind of leave with a new spark and some new ideas and everything. And this trip specifically, I remember feeling like I want to become more of a sketchbook person, and maybe even share more of my sketches and processes and just more casual drawings that lead to my oil paintings. And so that might be coming around the corner, maybe at the gallery, like maybe I'll feature preliminary drawings with the painting that it eventually became.
That's great.
That's fun.
Yeah. And that, that speaks to the conversation we were having about the process and the vulnerability and stuff. It's a little scary, if I were to frame just like a sketchbook page, but I think it would could add some meaning to the finished oil paintings on the walls.
Right.
Absolutely.
So what
yeah.
are some other museums that you would like to visit that are on your bucket list?
Let's see. There are a lot that I have been to. So a couple of years ago, I was in Amsterdam and I visited the Rijksmuseum, which is where it's all Dutch artists, and that was an incredible experience. But we did not get to go to the Van Gogh Museum specifically.
Oh.
I think we had to get tickets like way in advance, and we didn't realize that.
Sure.
And so I would love to go to that. I mean, who doesn't love Van Gogh, of course? But yeah, especially recently when I went to the museums in New York and I saw Starry Night for the first time. I am not necessarily the type of person that's like, I need to see the Mona Lisa. Like, I've seen the Mona Lisa, and it's like,
Right.
oh, okay, there it is. You know,
Yeah.
it wasn't any sort of
It's
like
a lot
magical
smaller than you
experience.
think. I was like, that was smaller than I thought. It was a big line.
Yeah, right? Yeah. But when I did see Starry Night, for some reason, I had the most significant emotional response that I've had to any painting in a museum in like all the art that I've seen. I started like full on crying in front of that piece. Like, you know, I studied art history and stuff. I know what that painting means and stuff.
Right.
And it wasn't necessarily that. It was just kind of the overwhelming feeling that it's just crazy that in his lifetime he had no idea the impact that he would make on art and culture for decades, centuries to come. And to see all these people, even if they didn't, you know, even if they're not art people, they still are like, I'm in New York City, I have to see this painting. It's famous, you know? Like seeing people lined up to see it just really made me emotional and made me think about what an impact you can make even when you're gone in the future. Right. And so it just makes me think about how I'm leaving behind these archival like pieces of artwork, these objects. I would love to see more of his work now that I was hit with that so hard. So
I have a recommendation. If you get to Venice, Italy, you've got to go to the Guggenheim.
Yes.
There.
Okay.
I mean, there's several Guggenheims around the world, but that one really made an impact on me.
Have you been
I really loved
in
it.
Paris? Have you
Paris,
been to Paris?
I've been to Paris, yes.
The Louvre, but my favorite was not the Louvre. The other one that is
the Musée d'Orsay.
Yes, that was
incredible.
That was the one that I cried in pretty much every room. I was just like, the building is amazing, and just everything, the architecture, then all the
space.
Artwork. I was
that's on my bucket list.
Absolutely,
Well, speaking of
museums,
Van Gogh.
Oh, Van Gogh.
I'm reminded that recently the Van Gogh traveling exhibit was in Spokane. Were you able to make it to
I
that?
actually wasn't. No, I didn't. It was just a really busy season of life for me, to be honest.
Yeah,
so
you were
I
putting
didn't.
a gallery together.
My husband, in his, I mean, he doesn't always come through, but for my birthday, surprised me with a trip to that. And it was really interesting. They set up a room that looked like his painting, and then they had this really cool projections on the wall. But my favorite thing that you had to pay actually a little extra for, but it was worth it, was the virtual experience. Where we put the little, I don't know what you call it, the little headset on, and it basically took you through his paintings. And that was emotional for me.
Yeah.
Because you're really seeing, and you could turn.
That sounds incredible. Yeah. I'm kind of bummed that I missed out on that, but you know, we'll see.
Well, a lot of people missed out on that part of it because they didn't want to pay more.
I see. Yeah.
It was only $5 more, and it was so worth it.
Wow. Oh, yeah. That's good to hear. Yeah. That sounds really neat.
Anyway.
So tell us, how many hours are you working at the gallery, and what are your hours?
Okay, so the gallery is open every day except for Monday now. Recently, like until this point in the summer, we were closed Mondays and Tuesdays, but we are now open on Tuesdays.
Okay.
And I typically work Thursdays through Saturdays.
Okay.
And so those are the days when people can come in and talk to me if they want to talk directly to the artist. I can, tell you about the work. And my dog Winnie is our little gallery assistant, and he's usually with me. So that's another plus. But my family help out on other days, and I obviously have to, have work days where I'm painting in the studio. So
I was going to say, you got to find time to paint.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. And our hours, I should mention, we are open from 11 to 5 most days. Saturday we close at 6:30, and then Sunday we don't open till noon. So those are our hours.
But then on Art Walk nights, you're open during
Oh,
Art
yes.
Walk, of course.
Yes. So Art Walk, the second Friday of each month, we do an event each time, an opening. The normal day ends, and then from 5 to 8 p.m. is when we have our reception with wine and cookies and things.
And you can meet the artist. For all your screen printing needs, trust the local you can count on. Pyramid Printing has been a Coeur d'Alene favorite for over 2 decades.
Specializing in screen printing, embroidery, signs, banners, and stickers. For all jobs, big and small, just give Eric a call.
Email us at info@pyramidprintingcda.com or give us a call at 208-664-0254.
PyramidPrintingCDA.com.
Greetings, listeners of the Allie and Callie Artcast podcasts. This is Jason from Tubbs Coffee Roasters. Keeping art alive and culture relevant is the heart and soul of our community of creatives. And as a local coffee roaster who loves a good origin story of a painter or a farmer or a musician, we proudly support the Allie and Callie's Artcast podcast's expansion and exploration through positive conversation. So grab a cup of coffee, preferably one from Tubbs Coffee Roasters, and tune in, humans. Your ears will thank you.
All right, Jamie. Well, we've mentioned Art Walk. Don't forget, it's on the 8th, 5 to 8, and the gallery hours, we've got that. But I want to ask you, where do you see yourself in 5, maybe 10 years? Art all over the world.
That is a good question. And it's difficult to think about because, I didn't see myself here 5 or 10 years ago necessarily. Yeah. So I don't know if I can predict anything necessarily, but I do want to find a way to balance having a family and, pursuing my professional career. And I'm setting myself up for hopefully a good balance. And I do want to end up in this area, which is probably uncommon for artists with big dreams and everything.
Right.
But yes, I would like to have my art in maybe galleries more across the country, maybe the world. Maybe the gallery expands. That's potentially in the cards.
Yeah.
Right now and for the next probably 5 years, I think I'll be definitely focusing on building a really strong local audience and just kind of making myself one of the classic Coeur d'Alene artists. That's kind of a goal.
Which is great.
For the next few years.
Well, I think Coeur d'Alene is well on its way to becoming an art destination. So I think the idea of staying in this area is not a bad idea as an artist.
For sure. Yeah.
And we do want to mention that you will be having art classes in September. So if they want to sign up, they can go to jromegallery.com/classes. So
sign up.
For oil. Maybe that's what I should do.
Maybe you should.
I haven't done oil.
Yeah.
Well,
Oil
you're the
is-
perfect type
I
of student,
know, because
honestly.
oil is scary to me.
Exactly. Yep. Yeah.
I'm one of those people. I'm like, hey, I don't know. But anyway, I love the way it looks. That's for sure.
Yes.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yep.
Well, we are so glad that you're doing so well. Your work is beautiful. We've loved it from the beginning.
Yeah. You guys are so supportive. Thank you.
You've got prints available too. For those younger artists and lovers of art, if you can't afford the larger
Original.
pieces, yes, she's got some great prints here too that are wonderful. So come check out her gallery.
Yeah, and best of luck to you. This is
Thank you.
This is a great endeavor, and I'm really proud of you that you're jumping in here. And
Thank you so much. Thank you.
bet.
And the address again is
Yes, we are at
211 Sherman Avenue,
J. Rome Gallery.
J. Rome Gallery.
Yep.
Check it out.
Yep.
Thanks so much, Jamie.
Absolutely. Thank you both.
Yeah.
And don't forget to like, share, follow, and subscribe to the Allie and Callie Artcast. AllieCallieArtcast.com.
That's right.
That's right. I'm Allie.
And I'm Callie. And whatever you do today, make sure it's creative.
And maybe try something new.
Maybe
Something scary.
The Allie and Callie Artcast is brought to you by Tubbs Coffee Roasters, ethically sourced, locally roasted coffee, and Pyramid Printing and Embroidery, serving customers near and far for over 2 decades.